There are several different things I do with people who are resistant to accepting opinion as just that. With people who do not seem able or willing to view subjective things subjectively, or to view non-subjective things non-subjectively. I do different things with different people depending on who they are. To begin with, and this is probably the most important rule, I never share the details of my advice unless it's specifically asked for. I was on Twitter the other day. I just offered my opinion on Twitter. Person comes back, tells me exactly what I should do, what I should think, what I should be, what I should do, everything. How do you think I like that? I don't like it. I don't like it. I didn't tell him what he should think. I didn't tell him what he should do. I didn't tell him how he should live, what the things that he should believe. All I did was just express my opinion. And here he come back telling me exactly what I needed to do. I don't like it. I don't treat other people that way. In this work, I offer advice and I do those sorts of things because people come to me for it. But even in this work, I'm still just laying things out there. People can take them, they can do what they want with them, or they can completely reject them, and let me tell you, lots of people do. Anyway, that's the number one thing. I never offer my advice unless specifically asked for. You'll save yourself tons of grief, tons of frustration if you follow that pattern. It's not that difficult to do. You can get real good at it with practice. Different types of people. Casual friends. With casual friends, these are not my best friends. These are just people I bump into. We get into a conversation. Here's what I do. I plant seeds of curiosity by asking questions, but I don't push. Any resistance I sense from them is my cue to stop or change the subject. So by asking questions, I can say, okay, so what you just said seems like a pretty broad statement. Would you think that applies to a person who does this or that? You see, the question is designed to plant a seed of doubt in their mind. But I don't push. I let them answer the question for themselves. With strangers, total strangers I encounter out in the world, my mechanic, my plumber, lady at the store, I just observe non-judgmentally. That's it. I don't offer anything. They talk, I listen, I analyze. That's all I do. Non-judgmentally. In other words, I'm not smarter than you, I'm not better than you. I'm curious though. I'm curious about what you think about that. And then kind of when I drive off, I'm thinking, wonder how they arrived at that conclusion about things. Well, I've got my theories, but I don't push, I don't offer. With my closest friends, with like old Jeffrey I was just telling you about, I participate in conversations that are more challenging. We get into these discussions around a fire, especially if there's a little bit of bourbon going down the hatch, and I will allow that, but I only allow it for about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes. That conversation we were having where I was starting to get real frustrated and I felt my emotions going up and everything, I was on the verge of ending that conversation. It had been going on for about 10, 15 minutes. We were going round and around on that merry-go-round I've often talked about. I said, this is going nowhere. This is going nowhere. This conversation really needs to end. But then I had that question in my mind, like, what is the disconnect? There's got to be something here. We're not meeting in the middle. Like, we're not talking about the same thing. Something is off here. So I explored that a little bit. That solved that problem. If it had not solved it, I would have changed the subject. We would have gone on to other topics. To express my own beliefs, opinions, frustrations, one thing I regularly do is I articulate them on the Notes app on my phone. Yes. So if I have a very strong complaint and I feel like I've got a very strong argument for that complaint, a very impenetrable argument for that complaint, I will articulate it in writing on my phone. Writing, as I heard somebody say recently, is formalized thought. That means that it takes it from the ether, it solidifies it, right? So you have an argument. You think that your points are very valid and strong and concrete. But when you put it in writing, it formalizes it. It puts that to the test. Do you have a good argument? Well, let's see. Can you put it into formalized thought, that is, writing? So doing this gives me the satisfaction to say what I want to say. To who? To me. So I get to say what I want. I get to express myself. I get to express it to myself. And who am I? I am a willing recipient of those thoughts and that opinion. They're not. People outside of me are not. They haven't asked for it. They haven't asked for my opinion. I don't offer it to them. But I still get to express myself to myself. And so this also helps me to formalize my arguments for any possible future time when, guess what? Somebody says, hey, what's your opinion about this? Floodgates are open, right? All bets are off. You've asked me, you've invited me, I get to give you my argument and my presentation and everything I think about this now. So, if I have put this into these thoughts into formalized thought, into writing, then I've had a chance to really sit down and to flush out my argument to see exactly, do I know what I'm talking about? Does this make sense? Why does it make sense? And all these things.